Good things come to those who wait. Close enough. Yes, I know. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm back again. Thank you. Oh, the driver's too kind. Okay, stop it.
Your place looks different. Is this a new setup?
Mind your business. Hello and welcome back to the Trevor Quincy Show. Of course, I'm Trevor Quincy. Yes, I know. Thank you so much. Alright, stop. And today's episode is actually very important to me, is because as you see, my setup is different. We are in an Airbnb, but that is because we have gotten an apartment in Austin. Yes, that's right. We are trying to live in Austin and we did it. We have successfully done it. And I think today's episode is going to be a testimony as to my journey here. I have not told many people that I moved to Austin. Well, I told everybody in the first episode. Moving forward, I came to Austin very suddenly, but I felt as though that I was called to be here for some reason. I was actually considering moving to Austin earlier in the year because I gave myself until September to move from New York to another place. I didn't know where that was. I just know that I did not want to go through another New York winter. The way that my life is set up, you know, the universe listened and was just like, hey yo, so you want to move towards September? We gonna make you leave at July. I left New York July 28th because I started feeling uncomfortable in my home. Now, I didn't have a room when I was in New York. I slept on a couch. When my older brother went to work in South Carolina, I took his room and I actually took over his room. Well, more to love him. I decided that, you know, I need a place to stay. When he comes back, I'm probably gonna be just staying on the couch. And I kind of forgot that I'd set that reminder in my head that I was going to leave New York in September. And so, of course, I got comfortable. And when I get comfortable in life, the universe tends to shake it up a bit so that I am not getting comfortable in the wrong space. I've always had this feeling that, you know, I am going to move, but I'm starting to outgrow New York. You know, not saying that I don't love New York because I'm from New York originally, but it's time for me to go. I took a lot of day trips during this year. I went to Orlando, I went to Tampa, I went to Las Vegas, I went to Seattle, I went to Chicago. I felt like Lisa Stansfeld. During those trips, none of them really resonated to me on a soul level, and I was kind of just questioning my own process. Like, what is it that I want to do? You know, where is it that I want to go? And I've had so many signs telling me Austin, and I was considering Austin, as I said, earlier this year, but I never took a day trip here. And I kind of just discarded it because I was like, Texas? You know, what's in Texas? Okay, so I've been to the Dallas area. Alright, so I flew into the Dallas area. I had a layover and I lost my contact lens. Not two, just one. And that was my first and my last major time in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I had another layover when I came back from Hawaii. So, yeah, no, that was my 2 times in Texas. I didn't really have an urge to go to Austin, but something was telling me go to Austin. Don't know what it is still that's, you know, here in Austin, but, you know, we're living, right? Fast forward to July, you know, the universe shook my life up a little bit and was just like, you need to move, and we're giving you little time to do so. So I'm just like, oh, okay. Luckily, in those decisions, or in those like situations, I can tend to make decisions quickly. So I decided, I was like, well, I've never been to Austin before, let's see what she's about. When I first came here, I knew nobody, and I still don't know anybody, but like, I still feel as though that like, I'm to be here. There are millions of signs here that just make me feel like I'm at home. For starters, there is a neighborhood called Del Valley, and that was my kindergarten teacher's name, and she's my favorite teacher of all time. Sorry everybody else, but like, I actually worked with in Austin, you know, I mean, well, now he lives internationally, so if you're watching this, Austin, hi. And when I first came here and I finally got out to start seeing, you know, the city of Austin, I realized that I'm like, this is literally everywhere I've lived in one city. They call Austin hill country. We in the rest of the United States call them mountains. I love mountains, and what's crazy is I actually manifested, or I actually just drew in my journal in 2020 about living on a mountain. You know, I want to have a house that just sits on a mountain, you know, looks out and things like that. And what's funny is when I came here and I was, you know, searching for apartments, I actually came across a home that literally matched that description tenfold. I was shocked, but the house was $2 million, and I did not come here with $2 million, so I was not getting that house. When I first came here, I knew that I needed a place to stay. I left New York to get away from its rent prices. I did not come here to pay New York prices, so I do not understand why a one-bedroom is $19.75 in Austin. We get it, she looks cute, she is fancy, but I am not paying $19.75 for a one-bedroom apartment. But I paid $3,500 more at 11. Every single apartment I applied to, I had issues with. The very first apartment I actually applied to, I got accepted, so I was like, okay, great, you know, we're gonna make this work. But then they turned around and was like, oh, well, you need a guarantor. And I was like, well, why did you approve me to say that I need a guarantor? Your business just doesn't make sense. I applied to this next apartment. It was in a great area. It was right around where I wanted to be. I kind of got far in the application process. I feel like as though I'm talking like it's an audition, but it was pretty much, it felt like that. I got pretty far in the application process because they were asking for bank statements, and you know, I had enough in my bank account to, you know, show that I can afford the lease and I'll be all right. Then they turned around and was like, we're gonna deny you, but thank you so much for applying. We may keep the application fee. Yeah, we're gonna keep the application fee. I did go on Spare Room. I was looking, you know, just to, you know, I guess have a room in somebody's house, and so I would apply to multiple places. I got far in about 3 processes, and then 2 people like reached out to me and then never reached back out, which that's a thing in Austin. See, people will kind of like reach out to you and they're like, oh hey, we're interested, but then it's like, and then they'll say that we'll get back to you the next day, and then they don't get back to you the next day. They don't even get back to you at all. How about that? They didn't get back to me at all. And I was a little tight because I was just like, well, you know, I'm trying to give you business, and I'm also trying to, you know, move in. And so you keeping me on silent is not helping anything out, Susie. Just to clarify, none of the people that I was trying to move in, their name is not Susie. That is just an example for today's video. I went through multiple no's, and then I really started questioning a lot. I started questioning, do I really belong here? Because I feel called here, but I don't know why I'm here. Granted, if I look at it from an astrological perspective, it's activating my 12th house. Now, I'm a Cancer ascendant, but I use draconic astrology, so I am a Taurus, Capricorn. I decided that I wanted to give the whole, you know, resting of looking for an apartment because I was eagerly trying to move into an apartment that I forgot to just enjoy myself. I forgot to stay in the present moment. I really started to, you know, release and just tell myself that all is going to work out. I decided that I was gonna give the whole like apartment hunting a rest. I did meet, you know, some really cool people here so far, but it was kind of like they were in and out. This one person that I met, like, he went on a road trip, so he kind of went to New York on a 4-week road trip, and I was like, oh, well, that's cool, you know, enjoy. But for the most part, I kind of been to myself here. Towards the end of my Airbnb stay, I really started getting nervous. I know what it's like to be homeless, and I have gone through that experience in 2019, and so immediately when things were not working out, my mind immediately went to that, but then I had to calm myself down and tell myself, you know, I have enough finances, you're okay, you're not going to repeat those same things that you did in 2019 because you learned and you grew from that situation. And once you know better, you do better. I ended up going on a Texas excursion. You know, I went up to Fort Worth, I visited a friend, and then I went to Dallas. I visited some family. Yes, I have family here, so that kind of took off the weight a little bit of, you know, finding a place, because I was like, okay, this is just reaffirming to me that I'm meant to be here. My family in Texas, they're the only ones here. And so that's my father's side, and my father's side of the family, you know, there's a lot that I still am finding out about that side of the family. And so since they're the only ones down here and I'm down here now, I'm like, wow, it's so nice to have family here, because I've lived in other states where I was literally the only one. When I was visiting family and I was visiting my friend in the DFW area, I felt a sense of like, I know I'm meant to be here, but why are things taking so long? And this is really where the trusting comes in. I felt this feeling that I'm just not used to. You know, I kind of was feeling that I was like, oh, my faith is kind of like waning a little bit. And I was talking to a friend, and, you know, it kind of felt as though that, like, seeing everybody else have a home and me not having a firm foundation, it really, I started getting into that feeling. Then I went to Houston, and Houston kind of cheered me up, I'm not gonna lie. You know, I really enjoyed it, but the day that I left Houston was when that feeling just got tighter, and it got bigger in my stomach. I kind of knew that I was like, okay, you know, I'm really just trusting that all is going to work out. I am prepared to get another Airbnb, and that's what I ended up doing. I didn't give up, because I still had this like little faith that things were going to work out. The day that I moved out of my Airbnb, I get a call from a number in Alabama. So I answered the call, and, you know, they were like, hi, are you looking for an apartment? I said, yeah, well, you know, what else is new? Well, basically, they were going ahead and telling me, well, you recently applied, but you didn't finish your application, and things like that. And I was just like, there's a lot of applications I did not finish. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and, you know. In a sense, I kind of felt defeated, but then she was explaining, you know, this process, and it was kind of like the same process of me renting a car when I first moved to Austin. When I first moved to Austin, renting a car is very, very hard if you're not over the age of 25. I'm 23, turning 24 in literally 2 months, and if you're a young renter, they charge a young rental fee, and it's not like it's anything cheap. It's about $300. I come to find out of this program. Well, it's not really a program, but it's a service called Avail. And Avail is through Allstate, and they don't charge a young renter's fee. They don't charge, you know, all these arm and leg fees that these other rental companies would normally charge you. The apartment people that called me are kind of like Avail in a sense, where, you know, it's like you don't have to worry about application fees, you don't have to worry about deposits or things like that, and it's called Landing. I could link the website in the description, and I recommend that people try it out if you are in the same situation that I was in. But they actually reached out to me because I didn't recall being on their website at all. Like maybe I looked at it, but I just don't remember it, you know, looking at it in depth. I had to wait because I had an issue with my card yesterday, actually. So this is all happening yesterday. And so I was having an issue with my card, so I said, okay, well, let me try tomorrow. I already booked the Airbnb, and so just let me try tomorrow. I applied, basically, but it wasn't really an application. It was kind of just like you make an account, and then you're just like, okay, you want to do this day? All right. And then you go through their screening, which is literally they just want to make sure that you're meeting their requirements, and boom, the apartment's yours. Usually it takes about 24 to 48 hours, but this happened very instantly for me. When I applied and I submitted the funds, I was watching my shows, and something told me to check my email, and so I did. And what was in that email was that I got approved, you know, and so they kind of send you 2 emails, or 3 if you want to count like the, okay, we got your payment, but they sent me 3 emails all together. The first one was the confirmation, you know, the payment went through, we're gonna email you back if you got approved. So I got approved, and then the management site, so where my apartment is, they also approved me too. And so when I got that, I literally screamed, and the first thing I did was I reached out to my tribe, and I was like, I finally have an apartment. Like, it felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. What I really learned is that things take time, and this is something that I'm learning because I have Saturn in Aries. Though it's in the 10th house, it's in a cute placement, you know, I have to learn patience. And I'm used to things being on the New York minute. In New York, you can rent an apartment or get an apartment, and within the same day, you can know if you have that apartment or not. Whereas in Texas, it's a little different. I just felt the need to share this with somebody who may be going through their spiritual journey, who may feel as though that they're called to go somewhere, that they're called to move. You know, this can be for whoever, rather you're Christian, rather you're spiritual, you know, or rather you just feel the urge to do something, you know, and you're following that and you're just trusting that things are going to work out. Let this be proof that things work out. I'm not gonna lie, I did complain my way through, but that's just how I process things. It's only when I don't complain that things tend to go wrong in my life. Go figure. This whole process, I was being my true authentic self, and things still worked out. So it really doesn't matter if you complain, just don't dwell in that feeling. The apartment that I have is right where I wanted it to be. It is right, it's literally right where I wanted it to be. It literally sits on the mountain, you know, or on the hill, as you will. As of September 20th, I'll be there, so we will be changing locations. But I do recommend visiting Landing because they literally help out millions of people who may have issues with, you know, getting an apartment the traditional way. Now, this is not a sponsored video at all. This is literally just a testimony saying that things are going to change for you. You know, whoever needs to hear this. But I just want to make this note that, like, if in the case that your faith is waning, that's okay. Just don't give into that thought. You know, just keep going with your day. Do something that makes you feel happy. And I know when I hear this information, I'm just like, okay, but you really don't know what I'm going through. And you know what? I don't know what you're going through at all. But my friends can attest. Everybody who has been in my life for the past couple of weeks can attest that, you know, although things they may not be the greatest or the way that you want it in the moment, they will always work out. It is literally temporary. I'm very happy that I was able to just be my authentic self, and I still attracted this. And honestly, just be you. You know, if you want to complain, complain. You know, if you want to let your anger out, let your anger out. Just don't dwell in it, because it's only when you dwell in it that you tend to attract that too. If in the case that you feel as though that things kind of just get worse before it gets better, that's kind of how it happens. You know, the universe is a balance, and so in order to get the good thing, you do have to go through those hard times, because through those hard times you gain wisdom and you gain the lessons that you need to sustain that good thing. I'm very grateful, and I thank the universe for all that it's done for me. Now, if you resonate with this, or if you're going through something yourself, please like, share, subscribe. I would love to know what you are going through as well. And I hope this video helps somebody who may be going through a tough time. But without further ado, I am going to go enjoy my lunch, and I'm going to go enjoy my weekend, and I hope that you enjoy your day too. Bye-bye.